right? Everybody fill that out?
Well, we've got the post-test.
Post-test? Okay.
But I don't have a pre.
Okay.
Do we have a pre-test now?
Okay. Oh, thought there was a pre-test, but. Yeah, so my name is Darren Higashiyama. I'm with the Kittitas County Sheriff's Office. I do their active shooter. I'm one of 4 instructors that we do active shooter stuff. I made this presentation for hospitals, specifically 4 hospitals. And when I did, the video system worked.
Technical difficulty.
It's the HDMI cable is a little finicky. So I sort of tweaked it when I did the hospital. So I've done Moses Lake, Ephrata, Quincy, KVH, and I didn't know much about acts of violence at hospitals or active shooter stuff, but lo and behold, there has been incidents. Ed said that Prestige has been hit twice, mainly on the coast, about violent people coming into the facility. And when I met with him last week to say, hey, this is the presentation that I usually give, right when I was leaving, the guy walked into KVH and took a fire extinguisher and decided to spray down the lobby area, went to another business and was arrested from there. So mental illness, the person had mental illness, so we'll touch on that. This isn't an end-all be-all for violence at workplace or active shooter threat or anything like that. I don't have a check sheet, if this then that. A lot of people want that. I do a lot of schools and that's what the teachers want. Well, what if this happens? I can't say what if because we'd be here all day trying to go over scenarios. So as I can say is that you guys are hired because you're smart and you're way smarter than me. So therefore, if I can get the concept, I know you guys can because you're way smarter than me. The active shooter is at the tail end, but first we're going to talk about workplace violence. And then this is what I hope to accomplish today is talk about workplace violence. We'll get into active shooter stuff and then our response. So what we are going to do and what EMS is going to do in the facility if we have an active shooter event here. So we'll go over the run, hide, fight. And then you guys decide, hey, the safest thing for me to do is hide, and what the heck is taking the cops so long to come into my room. And I'll explain what we are doing. We're actually working, it's just that it's going to take us a long time to get to you. Our thought is, as long as you're alive, doesn't matter how long we take to get to you, as long as you're alive, because our number 1 goal is to save lives. And again, why would somebody shoot up, and again, this was for hospitals, so why would somebody shoot up Prestige?
Grievances.
Grievances, right, a fired employee could come in, anger, I'm sorry?
Mental illness.
Mental illness, right, that's gonna be your number 1 reason.
Money. I'm sorry.
So a lot of it is drugs, so you don't have a pharmacy here. But the person that's addicted to opiates does not know that. They see medical staff going in and out, they see this guy, he's a nurse, it's like, oh, he's got a stethoscope, there's gotta be drugs inside. There are medications inside. Sometimes it's high blood pressure pills, right? Sometimes it's cholesterol pills. They don't know they're feeding for drugs. They see nursing staff coming in. Therefore, there must be drugs in here. And so if I'm addicted and I'm feeding for that next hit of that next opioid, I might follow you in because I have no idea what happens inside Prestige. I walk in with a gun holding up the place and I say, you know, give me your oxys, and you're saying, I don't have oxys, we don't carry oxys here or whatever. And then they leave. Scary event, could happen. You're most likely to get a mental health person that can attack this area. Why? Why would a mental health person want to shoot up this place? And we'll get into that in a second. So think
Maybe
about
they
that.
think it's a mental health facility and they don't.
Well, they also think is what's the number 1 goal that they want? Active shooter.
Sure.
Number 1 goal of an active shooter is somebody to kill, right? And so I have a captive audience right now. If I was the bad guy, I know there's going to be people here 24/7, 365 days. I know that there'll be people here, right? Super One's not even open that late. If I go there at midnight, there's not going to be anybody there. I know I can come here, right? There'll be people here. So again, you're open 24 hours, no security here. You're a soft threat. When I do the schools, most of the time, 90 percentile is there's not a school resource officer, armed school resource officer there at the time because they know that those guys will shoot back. Again, if my underlying issue was to inflict harm, I don't want to be shot back at. I want to be the shooter. People coming and going all the time. Gang retaliation, we'll touch into that. You're not going to have that problem here. The hospitals do. So when we arrest a gang member that committed a crime out there, a lot of times we have to get them cleared at the hospital. We add security onto that because their friends may want to break them out, or the rival gang wants to finish the job.
We had that at Parkside, the skilled nursing facility in Union Gap.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Gang retaliation?
Yep.
Well, there you go. So you guys aren't safe because you don't know who your you call them residents or
Yes.
yeah, who your residents are or their past. You just are here to take care of them, and you might not know that. Dementia patients, you guys deal with dementia patients. We'll get into violence in a second. They don't mean to do you harm, but they don't know what they're doing. They may start swinging their cane, and then the next time you walk in the room, there's, as nice as nice can be. My mom was a CNA at Wenatchee, and she'd come home black and blue from getting grabbed or kicked. And then she'd walk out of the room, and her name's Elkie. She'd walk back in, hey, Elkie, oh my gosh, how are you doing? It's like, you just kicked me, Fred. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And I suppose those stories that, oops, which way did I go here? Robberies. You guys don't have pharmacy, but that's number one hit place at Rite Aid. Got hit twice down in Ellensburg. For opiates, that's the number one drug of choice, is the oxys that they want to get. We haven't seen too many veterinarians getting hit, but they like ketamine also. That was about 15 years ago. The vets were getting just slammed, and they were looking for ketamine at the time. So you guys don't have pharmacies, but again, that does not say that somebody isn't going to walk in thinking that this is a clinic of some sort, and will walk in and try to demand opiates. End of life or euthanization. You might see this here. The person, that loved one, is terminal or is hooked up to a lot of machines and just, this is not a good quality of life. They walk in, they kill their loved one, and then a lot of times it's a homicide-suicide, meaning I kill somebody and then I kill myself. The underlying is not you guys. The target is not you guys. But if you guys intervene, that's when your life can be in danger. So anytime there's a gun in play, somebody's in danger at that point. So just be aware of that. Again, they're not, the goal is not to hurt others. But if you do try to intervene, they might have to point the gun at you to get you back, because they're going to shoot the person and then shoot themselves. This one up here was this tragic story. The gentleman, he bought a 380 at a pawn shop, went in, put the pillow over his wife, shot her, and then it jammed, of course, when he put the pillow over the gun, tried to shoot himself, drops the gun and just starts crying. He got arrested and he went to jail. Sad story on that one. Gang related, apparently that can happen here. I told the morning class that you don't probably have to worry about that because she wasn't there. So, that's mainly for that. Domestic violence. What the heck would domestic violence have to do with anything in here? So who in here is married? All right, and she sat up front. And your name?
June.
June?
Yeah.
So June, in all law enforcement training, nobody ever sits up front. I'm just saying. Easy target.
It's because I'm blind.
Right. So who in here knows what happened at June's house last night?
Where?
At June's house. Who in here knows what happened at June's house last night?
I don't even want to know.
Right. And because it's none of our business what happened at June's house last night. But what you didn't know is her husband Fred, and I'm just making this up, and she wanted to divorce Fred. Fred goes bonkers, right? And they get into it, police get called, no assault happens, but we need to separate for tonight. June says, hey, I have a friend, I can go stay with her tonight. So she leaves. Where does Fred know where she'll be tomorrow? Right here at work. He knows their schedule. So that's what's called domestic violence spillover. When something happens at home and they come to work and they want to hurt June, because I'm ticked off at June. but I have no idea where June's staying, but I know where she'll be tomorrow. So any supervisors in here? So supervisors, if there's all your people underneath you, there's a baseline, right? Usually there's a baseline. People come up and down with their moods, but if something is off, just ask them, hey, is everything all right? We have a place called Aspen in Ellensburg. They're our domestic violence sexual assault advocacy group. They was a great resource to turn them over to them. It's they can't even tell me if you're a client there and I'm law enforcement unless they sign a release that they can talk to us. They have cell phones that they give them, because if the husband is tracking them, then they give them a different phone. They'll come up with a safety plan. They have housing vouchers. They have a house here in Ellensburg that nobody knows the location, and they can also ship you out of town and house you somewhere else. So that's huge. Another big thing is June got a protection order against Fred, right? And we all love Fred because Fred shows up over here all the time, bringing her lunch, bringing her flowers, because every time there's an assault that happens, the honeymoon phase kicks in and the husband ships flowers over here. So Fred's the nicest guy. All you guys think Fred's a nice guy because he is to all of you guys, right? It happens to her when she's at the house. So she gets a protection order. Protection orders always has the house and place of work that Fred has to stay at 1,000 feet away from it. Well, Fred's out front, and you go out there and you see Fred and you wave at Fred, right? Because he's a great guy, he just delivered flowers to old June. And then June starts walking out, and then that's where she gets attacked. So if you have a protection order against somebody, tell your supervisor. All right, supervisors, nobody here wants to air out their dirty laundry, right? Nobody. You don't have to probe, oh my gosh, what happened? That's none of our business what happened. It's our business though is to protect your employees. We need to protect you. We need to know that Fred is not allowed here to be in here, because she might be at work and Fred's driving up and down that road right here on Mountain View, and you might see Fred drive by a couple times. And then we get contacted, we contact Fred, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to work. Hey, you're construction at St. Katie, why are you on Mountain View going back and forth? You're trying to intimidate June. So that's where that comes into play. When I do this at the courthouse, we did have an instance on that where the husband came to work, and he always comes into work, and then he was supposed to come into work, and of course we have courthouse security had to swoop in. So true stories that happen. On this one at Deaconess in Spokane, DV at home, cops get called, she wants a divorce, they get into it, cops don't make an arrest. The next day he goes up the elevator, goes to her office and shoots her. He goes down, tries to escape. Cops are coming into the parking lot and he ends up shooting himself. So this just happened in Spokane. Happened a while ago, but it can happen anywhere. Skip one. Psychiatric patients, suicidal patients, we don't deal too much with that. Maybe dementia patients. We might have some psychological issues going on here. They might be violent. They might not know what they're doing. They might not know that they're violent. If they are, make sure that you go in with a friend. If you ever get in a fight, you want your friend with you, right? So don't go into the room alone. Tell your supervisor that you need help with this person. You don't feel safe with them. It's okay. A lot of instances where the psych patients are the ones that are harmful to them. There was just a shooting in New York. It's the sister brought her brother in. Hey, this was a hospital. Hey, he needs treatment. The guy looks over, another guy, why are you looking at me? I wasn't. Why are you looking at me? He pulls out a gun and shoots him. Bang! It's all on video. This just happened a couple weeks ago. Sister was trying to get him help, didn't know he had a pistol on him, and ends up shooting and killing the guy. So these things do happen. If you do that, make sure that you have friends with you when you do this. If they're swinging a cane, right? Protect others around you. Make sure that they're not there. Make sure Betty's not rolling in her wheelchair or anything. You want to back everybody out. Let us deal with it. We have less lethal stuff that we can do to subdue this person without harming that guy. These people turn into your active shooter, and I'm not talking about dementia patients here, but I'm talking about psychopaths out there. These people have an overriding sense to want to harm others. We don't know why. There's something wrong up here. Every mass shooter, there's something wrong because mass murder is not a rational thing to do. Number one thing is I want a body count. I want notoriety, right? I want to get the most body count. What's our worst our most active shooter deaths? Which one, what you have?
There was one in Vegas.
Vegas has the record so far. Sandy Hook. What happened at Sandy Hook? Right, everybody remember Sandy Hook, why?
The elementary school.
Right, because it was an elementary school, because a bunch of 5 and 6-year-olds got shot there. All right, so the heartstrings, people learn from that. People want notoriety. Would I get notoriety if I came in here and shot 6 geriatric patients? Would that make national news? You don't think so? Yeah, shooting 6 geriatric, just frapping people in bed. Absolutely, it would make news, and I wouldn't have to shoot that many. It's just that geriatric. I was like, oh my God, why would somebody do that? So the NTOA, National Tactical Officers Association, defines an active shooter as one who participates in a random or systematic shooting spree demonstrating intent to continuously harm others. The subject's overriding objective appears to be that of mass murder, rather than that of criminal conduct such as robbery or hostage taking. So these are the people that are not trying to get the opiates. These are not Fred trying to get June. I want people dead. Who knows why? I want to execute everybody in here because I'm angry at something, right? These are what we're going to go into right now. I'm going to talk about workplace, but this works everywhere. This works at movie theaters, right? This works at the mall. This works at a grocery store. Anywhere there's a group of people is a target for an active shooter event. Why?
It's the greatest amount of damage.
Greatest amount of damage, right? It was a concert in Las Vegas. The guys at Mandalay Bay and was indiscriminately shooting across the street into a crowd, right? Why? We still don't know why.
Such a subway
Still don't know
shooter
why.
in New York.
Right, subway shooter. We don't know why. He just started shooting people. 14-year-old Barry Lucas killed 2 students, right? It was a math class. Was that the first school shooting?
No.
No, right? But this was the first one that made national news. There were school shootings back into the 1800s. Actually, a person brought dynamite and blew up a school in Pennsylvania in 1830-something, right? So there's always been killers, mass killers. This guy right here made national news because, oh my gosh, why would a 14-year-old kill? Bring a gun to class, kill 2 or shoot 2 kids and a teacher, right? Did you know that all the sentencing was here in Ellensburg? Yeah, Judge Cooper was the one sentencing him. Oops. So then you had these 2 yahoos shoot up Columbine. Why I'm telling you about this is because in Columbine, what we did as law enforcement was we surrounded the building, and we call it our SWAT teams, right? So we have a tactical team here. It's our tactical response team, TRT. We're made up of county and deputies on EPD, Central Washington University, and Cleon PD. We all have officers that are involved in this. So before this is we would call them the SWAT team, because we have the best hair, right, all gelled up. We have the heavy vests, you know, we got some Velcro stuff, we got all the cool stuff. So they would call us to go handle these things, right? Well, an hour and a half later, they finally went into the building and started clearing the building, right? And then we said, wow, that took a long time. So we would do the C's, right? Contain, control, call SWAT, try to communicate, come up with a plan. And then we said, hey, we'll create a go team because this is taking so long. So we would form a nice, that's called a diamond formation or a nice wedge. So we'd wait for 3 officers to get there, and we're finding out more and more that, oh my gosh, that's taking way too long. Because the average shooting is done in less than 12 minutes. The average arrival time for a police officer is 12 to 18, depending on jurisdiction. So do the math. 70% of all active shooter incidents are over before police even arrive. That means that you guys stop them or they shoot themselves. Either way, it's a win. Our underlying goal is to get that person to stop shooting, because if nobody is shooting, the chance of being shot decreases by 100%. So that's everybody's goal is to, as long as there's no bullets flying, nobody's gonna get shot. So we decided to, this is the deal. So average shooting lasts no longer than 12 minutes. The most short is 3 to 4 minutes. The average police response to the school is 10. Around here, it's about 10. More than 93% of incidents at school campuses are finished before law enforcement arrive. So it's like, oh my gosh, we're worthless, right? You're paying me a lot of money, and we're worthless. What's happening there is that you guys are intervening. You guys are saving your own lives, because that's what this is gonna take, is you guys saving your own life. If somebody walked in right now, actually, show of hands, who can run faster than 940 feet per second? Yeah, I mean, you can. I was looking at you, I was like, well, she might be able to do that, right? Because Pedro and 17 of his fastest friends, that's how fast they run. If somebody came in the front door right now, and I'm a cop, I'm right here, I am armed, and they start shooting in the lobby, somebody will be shot before I can engage that person. Why? Because it takes somebody to produce a gun, somebody to shoot, somebody to call 911. I mean, I'm in the building, so I might be able to hear it, so I'd go faster. But in real life, if I wasn't here, somebody would be shooting. She goes, oh my gosh, calls 911. Somebody's shooting up our prestige, and then all the cops start coming. Okay, it takes a long, long time to figure that out now. And who knows where we're at, right? Right when I was pulling in, there's somebody doing CPR way out past Kitty Desk. So I have county units heading that way, right? So deputies are out of the way. EPD, this is East Ellensburg Police Department jurisdiction. That might be north of campus. They might even be at their squad room, which is 101 North Pearl. It's gonna take them a long time to get down here, even running code, lights and sirens. So in reality, it is you. You have to defend yourself. So our philosophy here, and this changed for us in about 04. We said, hey, how about if we do first come, first serve? That means the first officer there goes into the gunfight. And we gotta get the CEOs, that means the sheriffs and the chiefs, to okay that, because it is dangerous for us. So having my other friends in a nice diamond formation going is the safest way for us. But we're like, hey, that's not saving lives. We gotta save lives. So we will come, lights and sirens. Why do we come, lights and sirens?
To let them know.
To let them know that we're coming. Because we want them to either give up, we want them to shoot themselves. Again, it's morbid, but that's a win for us, because the guy's no longer a threat. Or we want them to run away. Or to shoot at us. Because if they're shooting at us, that means they're not shooting at you guys. And we're the ones with the ballistic protection, and we can shoot back. So that's why we will come here. We will announce that we're coming in. We will be yelling, police, 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 because we want to give that person attention, focused on us and not on innocent victims. Okay, so we have first come, first serve. So the first officer here will enter, and we do one job only. We go to the sound of guns. If there are victims laying on the floor, we will step over them and press on. Okay, why?
So they can't shoot more. You're trying to stop it as fast as you can.
So yes, we're trying to stop as fast. So if June was hit and I stop and help June out, and the guy's shooting, I might create 4 more casualties down in the hallway. I might save June's life, but I just created 4 more casualties. So I have to step over June. So if we're coming in, we will bypass wounded until the threat is neutralized. Okay, so that's the same with you guys. I'm gonna get into that in a second, what you guys do, but you're gonna bypass wounded too in the beginning. And then you'll come back and help them later. But there's a reason for that. So bypass wounded will stop the attack. That's our number 1 goal. We go to the sound of gunfire. If there is no shooting, then we will slow down and try to hunt that person. If it's a hostage situation, all of a sudden we round the corner, somebody's there with June. Sorry, June, we're gonna put a bullet in the guy's head, so be careful. And then we'll bring in EMS after that. So we'll secure the scene, escort EMS in. We're gonna teach you to run, hide, fight. During all this time, hopefully you guys are in a stealthy location. To include this room, we'll be barricading it because I see there's not a lock on there. So we'll pile all this stuff, move the refrigerator in there so nobody can come in. In the meantime, everybody else should be going out those windows, going somewhere safe. right? You're going to try to get to somewhere that has a building in between you and this place, because bullets can travel. If I shoot this gun out that window, that bullet's gonna go very, very far, hit the next building. I don't know what street that is over there, but I'd probably hit the house over there. So we would set up unified command. Once we get here, we will bring in EMS. We will extract all of the wounded first. Why? Before we even go to you guys and try to find you guys.
They have to have help first.
Right, they have to have help first. So everybody the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, everybody remember that one, the shooter that went in there? Everybody that left Pulse nightclub alive with a heartbeat is alive today. All right, many, many wounded people, lost 20-some people, but the people that were loaded up in the back of cop cars, ambulances, if they were alive, they're alive today because they got into trauma care. And if you have a second chest wound, I'm sorry, you have to go to Harborview, because that's who can save you. That's the red patient will go to Harborview or Yakima, right? Yellows might be able to go to Ellensburg, might be shipped off to Wenatchee. Greens will definitely stay here, but we have to get you to trauma care. And so we want to make sure that we go in there, we load them up, and get them out. So before, we would have to clear this building before firefighters would come in. So clearing this building means that I look everywhere where a person could hide. How long would that take a team of 12 officers to clear this building? A long time, right? An hour probably, because I have to literally open the fridge door, go in there, open up here. Anywhere there's somebody could hide is clear, technically clear. That was the old protocols. Well, back in about 2008, we said, hey, that's taking way too long, people are bleeding out. Hey, fire chiefs, will you come in if we say it's okay? Which is called a warm zone entry. And every fire chief says, hell yeah, we trust you because we have a great relationship here. I taught this to a bunch of chiefs, fire chiefs in Tampa Bay, Florida. And afterwards, after my presentation, they came up and said, you know what? I'm not sending my guys in. That's too dangerous. I said, Chief, I'm not telling you to send the people in. I'm saying this is an option. I believe this is the best option. We're not trained for that. I said, okay, people are going to die, Chief. That's what's going to happen. They'll bring them out to us. I said, there's not enough of us to bring them out. So that chief choice, not knowing. But in Ellensburg, we are very lucky. They will come in here. As soon as we say it is okay, we're safe to do so. Even if the guy barricades himself in a room, they will still come in and get the wounded out. So we're very, very fortunate because every jurisdiction is not like that. I'm telling you, because I teach this class a lot, right? Wenatchee is a little bit different. AMR is not coming into the building. Firefighters will, they have to pull them out, and then the ambulances will be out here. Our people will go in with us. And they'll start triaging and treating you right there if they can. Right, warm zone entry, risk a little, save a little, risk a lot, save a lot. We do this mantra right there. We are risking the lives of those firefighters because we have not cleared the area to save a lot, and they all agreed upon it. And we're very fortunate. That's a warm zone entry. That's mainly for fire and EMS. We won't do these. So we do drills. How this works is that before COVID, we picked one school in the county and we would run this. We had to have actors and stuff. So KitCom, once we say how many wounded we have, they have a card and they will call an MCI, mass casualty incident. All right. They trigger calling in other ambulances. If they hit a certain number, they start automatically calling in outside county ambulances. Because once the ambulance leaves here, it is probably not returning, especially if they have to take them to Yakima. The incident is way over, everybody should be gone by the time they get back. They're also taught to stack them like cordwood in there. So if we're going to go to a fixed wing, you're going to see about 3 or 4 red patients inside of an ambulance. It is okay, right? What we're learning is that we got to get them to trauma care. Doesn't matter how. When we come in, right, every deputy has in their left cargo pocket a tourniquet. Not a tourniquet, we also have go bags with multiple tourniquets. We also have chest seals in those go bags. I'm not wearing my ballistic vest right now, but inside of our ballistic vest, we also have chest seals. We, after we neutralize the threat, will do medicine on people. We are not trained to the level that you guys are. So if Higgy comes in, that's my nickname, and I see June, and June has a wound in her arm, and I apply this tourniquet, and she has a femoral bleed, but I didn't see it. I'm putting this on, don't look at me, say, hey, dumbass, she deserves a tourniquet because number one, I don't like blood. Number two, I'm not trained that well, but I'm trying to save somebody's life, so don't give me grief. So, trying my best. We have to tell the paramedics that. It's like, please don't be yelling at our people. They're trying to do their best, right? We also will not bypass June and see and triage because we're not prepped for that. We will go to our mini cops. We'll go to the first person. Paramedics, they're different. They do a quicker assessment, but they're around blood a lot. I'll be like, right, put it on, but yeah. I don't do blood. I'll hunt the bad guy, but I won't. So, what to expect, right? Chaos, confusion, that one was a little bit different, but that's what's going to happen. If somebody started shooting out the hallway right now, there's going to be a lot of stress, a lot of confusion. What the heck is going on? Shooting inside of a building, the sound is something different. Who thinks that they could hear every gunshot if it was shot in this building? Right? Why? Because
They're loud.
they're loud, right? And when I do this to teachers, everybody's like, yeah, because the guns are loud, right? Why are guns loud? Because they're standing right next to you usually when you're shooting at a range or something like that. And I'm here to tell you, you won't hear every shot. If I'm down the other hallway, this is what, south hallway? So what, is that the north hallway?
East.
East?
Hallway, and then you got west and then south.
Okay, so the one that's down there and down there, if I shot down there, you wouldn't hear it, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Sound ricochets, it bounces. Even if you do hear a slight thing, you wouldn't know where it came from. And what I do in schools is I do a presentation sort of like this, but maybe we're in school specific. And then like teachers go back to the classroom, no kids are there. They go back to the classroom, we announce over the intercom where I'm at, and I'll shoot 2 blank rounds, right? They're 38. They're very, very loud. And then they're supposed to count. We all get back together. How many did you hear? Well, I only heard 6. Well, I shot 24 rounds, right? And so you think you can hear it. But here's the thing. If you hear this pop pop or something like that and people are screaming and running, that's a clue, right? Even I could figure that one out, and I'm dumb. So, you might not be able to hear the shots. It might be muffled. It might be in a room. You wouldn't know what room it was in, right? But if people are running away, which way do we want to go?
Same way
they're running, right? Because they're running away from danger. Treat a gunman as if it was fire, right? If the building was on fire, you wouldn't run in, right? So get away from the gunman, right? Fire alarms might be activated. Sprinkler system could be on. Wounded people are crying for help. We have to step over the wound and get away, get saved. Okay, the most important person in this room during this event is the person with 2 thumbs, right? It's this guy. It sounds greedy. It sounds horrible. It's against our Hippocratic oath. We're here because we like people and we care for people, all right? I'll pick on my LPN right there. Paul, right? Do you help people?
Yes.
Right. So, Paul, if I shot you, could you help people?
Depends where I shot.
Right. So, I shoot you in your arm. I blow off your left arm. Who are you helping?
Nobody.
Nobody, right? You have to help medicate. Now we need some people to help Dave Paul because Paul didn't get away. Now, if Paul got away and some of the people got shot here, guess what Paul can do? He can help everybody, right? He can help people coming back. So the thing is to stay alive in the beginning. We will find you and then you'll come back and then you'll do medicine here. Try to save as many people, right? Even if you don't have anybody don't have medical experience in here, right? What we're gonna do is say, June, hold this. Do not let go because you're the pressure.
Right.
And you're gonna be holding that until somebody else gets there with an inclusive bandage and then transports them out or a tourniquet to get them out, right? That's what we're gonna be doing with non-medical people. Medical people, we might say, hey, you're gonna have to start doing CPR on this person while we're loading them up. But we might not see Paul again because he's doing CPR on the patient while we're putting them out. So everybody will have a job, trust me. You will go back and you will save lives. But to save lives, you need to be alive. Okay, when I did this in Quincy at the hospital, I was having a hard time with the doctors that were in there. I'm not leaving my patient. I said, okay, doc, I get it, right? I got a gun. I'm gonna shoot you. I'm not leaving my patient. Pow! Now who are you helping, doc? Say, hey, I'm a bad shot. I just winged you. Blew off your left arm. Who are you helping? Oh, by the way, now we have to waste resources on you because you didn't get out. Or would you rather have your left arm, doc, and be able to come back and do medicine on everybody? So doctors are the worst. They're the... And the nurses do everything anyway, right? That's what I was told at the vaccine clinic. It's like, yeah, we don't want doctors here. Nurses do everything anyway. Right? That's true. All nurses are like, don't listen to the doc. We do everything. So codes. Oops, I had my little picture here. I left it down here. Codes, color codes. Who knows their color codes for here?
There's red, brown.
Oops, I saw one guy pull them out.
Oh Lord, I can't read far away.
Right, my little picture
Close
thing that
up.
I gave me is the other deal. So, yellow. What's code yellow?
Internal emergency.
Internal emergency. So if that means something bad just happened internally, that's a good one to know. What's code blue?
Cardiac arrest.
Cardiac, because that's what you're going to hear most, right? In any hospital, code blue, code blue. Code black.
External disaster.
External disaster or bomb threat, right? So that's a good one to know because the last thing you want to do is say, hey June, what's code black? I don't know, but people are running. So we should probably run. I don't know, right? You probably want to know where you're running from, right? But they're going to use code yellow if there's an internal threat. Code yellow. So if that goes off right now, what are you guys doing?
Running,
Hmm.
not hiding.
Barricading the
So
door,
if-
open up the window.
Right? So if there was a struggle right now just with a dementia patient, who's going? Who's helping?
Well, I
Well,
would,
we'll call for, I mean, it depends on how physical it is,
Right.
isn't it?
And then you call us.
Yeah,
But-
right.
But Paul, have you had dementia patients that were violent? Not
nothing, I've never heard any kind of code for dealing with dementia person. I've
Okay.
heard help,
help, right? So if you yell help, who's coming?
hopefully everybody.
Right. So that's the thing. You want to know internally that somebody's coming to help. That's the last thing that you feel so insecure at a workplace is if you yell for help and you don't know who's coming. So you should help Paul out if he's screaming for help. I'm not saying to jump out the window when Paul's doing it. But all of a sudden, Paul gets shot at and he's yelling for help. It's like, Paul, peace out, deuces, I'll get to you in a second. Because the guy with two thumbs is also in this room, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's just because there might be a code yellow, somebody might trigger the code yellow. Who in here can call a code yellow? Anybody, right? Anybody if you see something, say something. The last thing we want is, God, dang, that guy looked like he had a gun, and he walks through. We did this exercise in Cleom High School. Steve Panatoni, he's in charge of the jail now. He was a sergeant then. He just dresses up in plain clothes, and then he walked in and waited till somebody contacted him, right? And then he had a card saying, and then a badge saying, I'm a stranger, I'm actually a deputy, what would you do? Like, I don't know. I was like, okay, this is why we need to do these exercises. There should be somebody contacting him. Here, there's people going in and out. It's a lot harder. We're not a lockdown facility. A little bit more lockdown during COVID, but there's people going in and out. I don't expect everybody to know everybody walking in. But if you see a strange person, you should say something. Bring it up to your supervisors, and then the two of you can go investigate. Because I don't want you walking by and says, why is there somebody in with Edith? Nobody's ever visited Edith before, right? You know your clientele. You know who comes in and visits, all that stuff. There could be off baseline. That's weird. So make sure if you see something, say something. Make sure you know your colors. They're there for a reason. Your newest employees in their handbook will probably know the colors, and then you're about 7-year vet goes, yeah, I don't know, because we never use those. That doesn't mean that person won't trigger the yellow, and then all of a sudden you guys don't know what you're doing. So make sure you study that, please. I don't know why I'm skipping it. Every time I click that. External lockdowns. Sometimes KitCom will say, call this facility and say lockdown. We did it to the hospital once. We chased somebody from Super One and went that way. We tried to cut them off from those apartments over there. We had the hospital locked down. All they did was lock down the outside doors. An external lockdown, when KitCom calls, just means that you lock down, that you're preventing people from coming in. Business as usual inside. The schools have that too, an external lockdown. They're just making sure there's a threat somewhere out there in your vicinity, which we had to do with Thorpe. We had a police chase, hit the 101. The guy went off the road, started hoofing it across there. It was, I don't know, half-mile away, but we still put the school on lockdown just in case. We caught him. But that might happen here. But these are the hospitals. Hospitals do go on lockdown. This facility could go on external lockdown. But that's what that means when KitCom calls. Right, entrances to hospitals. Who's gonna lock your front door? Can you lock the front door? All right, are all the rest of the doors locked?
No,
No, so that's what has to happen, is that the doors have to be locked on an external. So try to come up with a plan on how to do that. The schools, if you're closest to the exit, your job as a teacher is to make sure those are locked on external lockdowns. Don't worry about us getting in. We will get in if we have to. We break stuff, especially deputies. We break stuff very well. But make sure that you guys do. So we don't want the gunmen coming in here, the guy that we're chasing. We don't want a potential hostage situation. You were never the target, but if they're excited and they're scared, who knows what a bad guy's going to do. So we don't want them coming in here and then we have a hostage situation. Smoking. When I did this in Quincy, right, the CEO gave me a tour of the hospital first, and you know, we have a controlled entrance and exit. You have to go through here, you have to go through reception. I said, where do people smoke? I said, well, they can't smoke here, they have to go to the field across the street. I said, I guarantee you that door's open. And it's like, nope, no, we have the badges, they beep in and out. We walk over there, there's a rock in that door. I said, because we are the laziest people in the world. That includes me. We're the laziest people in the world. And I know smokers are lazy. Who smokes in here? Shame on you. Shame on you. We are here to publicly shame you. All right. So they'll put the rocks here. So Arapahoe, you'll see the gunman on the surveillance camera. This is after the fact. Walk around the school because all the schools were locked, to include the front door. You had to go up and you talk to the receptionist, and then they buzz you in. The PE teacher smokes. The teacher leaves a rock in the back of the gym, and that's where he entered. Ended up killing 13 people. So make sure if the doors are supposed to be locked, that they remain locked. Inside code, there has to be push bars out there unless it's a lockdown facility like Pacifica has or something. All right, internal lockdown, that means that this is where you lock yourself into an area. So we don't have protocols for prestige, but if somebody says, you know, lock yourself in a room, lock yourself in a room, take heed, lock yourself in a room, all right? Something bad has happened. We really don't have time to say, well, what's going on? Lock yourself in the room as somebody's running, right? This is the active shooter. So bad guy walks in and starts wanting to kill you. Again, doesn't have to be specific for this place. Could be a mall, could be a restaurant. Anywhere there's a congregation of people makes a juicy target for a madman. So to keep it easy, we want you to run, hide, fight. That's it. Everybody can remember that. Run, hide, fight. So run. So this is what we teach the teachers to do, is to take the kiddos and run as far as they can. This is where I can't have a checklist, if this, then that, right? The teacher in Thorpe says, where do I go? I said, I don't care if you take your class to the pilot truck stop, get on a bus, go to Spokane, as long as you're safe. Sounds facetious, but that's the most important thing, is as long as everybody's safe. I would say get a building between you and the other building, because bullets fly. If I'm shooting at you guys and I'm missing and those bullets are going out the window, they travel a long, long way until something interrupts them. We don't want you to interrupt the bullet. Bullets always have the right of way, right? We always try to let them pass without obstructing their, right? Leave. If we're caught in this room, that door does not lock, we're jumping out these windows. It's not hard to break out those windows. If the windows have that black mesh in it, right? Don't try to break those, you're not getting through, trust me on that. We try to breach those all the time in training, we can't. They're designed not to do that. So, you don't, oh, you can come in.
No,
Take a break.
I've been through it, I thought you guys were in the other dining
Break
room.
drinks?
I apologize.
Margaritas. We don't have plate glass here. This one, ooh, literally, it's almost, this might. Plate glass, very dangerous. Make sure you start in the upper corners, sweep down, because plate glass will become a guillotine on you. And Easton, before they changed out their windows, when I first did this, I was like, ooh, crap, plate glass. Right? Easy to break, but very, very sharp. The other stuff on the other hallway was newer glass. So that's meant to break in smaller pieces. It's designed to do that. So it doesn't, shatter, and there's no cutting edge. This stuff will be pretty sharp. So make sure you start top, and then we rake down, use a chair, and then start going through it. If you're running, try to bring people with you, right? Hey, let's go, June. Let's get the heck out of here and run. Okay, if June drops to the ground because it's one of the F's, right? Fleeing, fighting, and she just flops. Well, you're gonna have to leave June there. I'll be back, June. Good luck, and you're out. And then we'll find you and bring you back, and then you can practice your medicine here, right?
Is that any day or just this time?
Now we leave June, or what? We can take a vote. I don't ever leave June.
Such a funny one.
Wow, June,
We just gotta make sure.
Remember that disgruntled employee thing?
Yeah, just remember, I'm the one that gets all the medical supplies.
All right, so run. We'll find you eventually. Don't worry about it. I guarantee you're not going to get in trouble. Your boss would rather have you alive and somewhere than back. The courthouse. Every courthouse administrator for their department will have a rendezvous point for their employees to try to get to. Just like, no, the clerk's office is the Starbucks at Fred Meyer. My office is the DOC building, Department of Corrections building on the Industrial Way. I don't care how you get there, eventually you wind up there, because we don't have time to call all you people. So that's what we do internally. The clerks or the assessors have a different place to rendezvous. It's a ways away from the courthouse, because again, we don't care where you go. And you might not be in the courthouse. You might be at public health, which is on NAM, walking back to the courthouse, and then all of a sudden people start spilling out, going run, 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 and you run, and then you get to your designated point, which is far away. We don't want to be able to see the building. That's just what we do. Whether you guys can do that, talk amongst yourself, that's up to you. Hide. So hiding, we would like you to be behind a locked door. There has not been an incident where a gunman tried to get into a locked door yet. Why?
Too much time.
Too much time. They want to shoot as many people as possible. If they're wasting time trying to get into a locked door. Sandy Hook, he breaks in, the principal confronts the person, they get in a scuffle, he shoots her, she dies, but she saved a lot of lives because that allowed the teachers to lock their doors, well, except for one. And that's the room that he went into, and that's where he shot the kids, right? So she's
So
here.
they don't usually try and like shoot the lock off or something?
No, because it's too much time.
No.
And shooting a lock, that's a lot of TV stuff. It is very hard. We have a breaching shotgun to get in, and
Oh.
that's even hard.
Oh.
We have special rounds, and it's not easy. So TV's it easy, right? One shot, and then they can go in. No.
Yeah.
Kicking a door in, it's very, very hard. Do not try it. You're going to ruin your knee, right? And usually it's better to do a mule kick anyway, but most people are like, ka-chow, because they see it on the movies. It's not easy doing that.
And don't hide in the oxygen.
Don't hide in the oxygen. It's dark in here. Light a match. Hey, there's June. Sorry, June.
That's okay.
That's why
Yeah,
cops don't sit in the front row.
today.
That's why we don't sit in the front row, right? Barricade the door. If you're going to use your body, lay flat and put your feet on there. Chow at Virginia Tech, he did shoot through the doors as he was walking by. That was a university campus. Barricade, move the fridge, move stuff in front of it. Don't worry about us. We will get in. We won't even attempt to get into your room unless we hear gunshots anyway, because we are hunting the bad guy. And then we stop, and then we get the wounded out. And then we'll say, is there any wounded in here? And then we'll make sure that we go to that room first. Right, you guys have a PA, we take over the PA system. Same thing, protocol is at the schools. We'll take over the PA system. It says if you have wounded in your classroom, call the front desk, and then we will go down to that room. We will find keys to get in here. We will announce who we are. Because again, we want the bad guy to know that we're here. When we come in, we will have rifles. We will look scary. Our eyes will be about yay big, all right? Don't come up to me just because I presented to you goes, oh my God, hey, right? Because now I gotta make a split-second decision of, are you a good guy or a bad guy? Do you have something in your hand? Do I have to put a bullet in you? Are you gonna harm me? Because this guy with the two thumbs is the most important person in this room. So don't do that. If we say, everybody get down on the ground, please get down on the ground. If not, we will put you on the ground. We will take your head and swoop down. It's called the C-spin. We don't have time. When we're also in hallways, if you are evacuating, we will push you aside and we will throw you down because I need a clear shot. If a bad guy was in here, we would push you down and try to get that shot off. So. Cover the windows if possible. You guys don't have external windows, but if you're in with and I'm talking about the hallway, not the exterior ones, because we don't want the bad guy to see you in there. There was a thing, well, we can't see in there. We go through sound, right? If there's no shooting in that room, nobody's getting shot, right? Could be somebody shot in that room, but nobody's getting shot right now when we go. And again, we go for sound. Don't open the door until we do this. When we do, we just did this at Thorpe. They have their lockdown drill. We were the ones, deputies were actually the ones with the keys and unlocking it. So we want them to, and we announce, right? Police, police, and we'll say police, even though I'm sheriff's office, we say police, because everybody knows that. If you cannot run, if you cannot hide, or if the guy does reach in here, the last option you have is to fight, all right? Who in here is a ninja? All right, you're not ninjas.
East hallway, man, every day.
Right?
Every day.
Right? Minefield ninja, soldier. When I do this to teachers, and I forgot to do this to this classes, I usually apologize that I'm even here teaching you the subject because I shouldn't have to. But this day and age, and it hasn't just been this day and age, right? As long as there's been humans on this planet, there's been killing. We had two brothers on this planet. One was named Cain, one was named Abel, and one decided to kill the other. So we had murder going on a long, long time, right? I can't stop murder. We made it illegal. We thought that would stop it, but it didn't. These guys that are hell-bent on body count, you can't talk them out of it. You cannot sit there and bargain with them. You might as well bargain to that painting back there. There is nothing there. They won't stop. You have to fight, and you have to fight like your life depended on it, because it does. All right? If the guy's breaking in, I don't care what you use to bash him over the head. Thorpe School District has T-ball bats, and they are practiced, right? I walk in with a pad. Whack him, hit him, use a fire extinguisher, take a TV, break it over their head. I don't care. Use a tactical pig pile, like we all rush this guy right now. Right, and then we jump on him. We wanted to get the gun away from him. We want him to stop shooting, because if he stops shooting, the chances of being shot decreases by 100%. That's always our goal, right? So it's time to be the hero, because you're it. I'm not saving you. I'm not going to be here in time. Think right now during a normal shift what you would do, where you would run, where could you hide? Have you walked around on your breaks to look to see where all the exits go to? We did this in the upper district court. We were inside the big court, and I was doing it with Judge Ellis and all the clerical staff. Where's your nearest exit? Everybody pointed to the exit. Where does that go? I think there's an alley over there. It's like, well, nobody's been in there? It's like, no. Let's go in there. I did this at juvenile probation upstairs at the courthouse. They said we would go through the courtroom, the small courtroom, get on the roof, and there's an access level down. Perfect. Have you walked that? No. They get over there, and we have cards that beat through all their deals. They went over there, and was like, those doors don't open until 8. Right? It was 7:45. They went over there like, oh, that's not working. I was like, right, you, in the time of panic, that's the last thing you want to do is thinking that you're going to get through this door to get to the small courtroom, to get on the roof, to get down, and you can't. Right? Now they're boxed in. So again, it's all, oh, I would do this, I would do that. Have you actually walked that route? Can you do that? can you get out that window? If we get out the window, are we trapped in a courtyard and can't get out, right? Where's the nearest exit out of that courtyard? I don't know.
Gate over there in the corner, it's got a code on it for an automatic lock.
All right, and do you know the code? So everybody in here hopefully knows the code. If you don't know the code, get to somebody that knows it. Because I don't know who has access to the code or not. It's not my business. I don't even know the code.
Star, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so don't worry about us. Everybody's like, well, can you get in? Don't worry about us. We'll put our patrol car right through the front door if we have to. And then we practice that once, all right? So it's an old car. Don't worry about your taxpayers. It was gonna be, so, not my brand new truck. Where could you hide? What we do with the teachers is, Thorpe is very progressive with that. They actually had students there to hide, and then we walk by to see if we can see them. After they locked their door, and they did a fantastic job there. So, again, the first reality is the first 5 to 12 minutes belong to you. The average incident is over in less than 12 minutes. Chow incident was open, that's Virginia Tech, was over in 12 minutes. He averaged 1 shot every 3.9 or 104 seconds. So that's a lot of bullets. All right, somebody in the last class knew this. How many 4 seconds are there in 12 minutes?
What?
How many 4 seconds are there in 12 minutes? Because Chow averaged 1 shot every 4 seconds. And he shot for 12 minutes. Right, 60? So that's a lot of rounds going down range, right? That's a lot of potential victims. So that's before there was a SWAT team there. And by the way, a SWAT team was actually training on campus, so they responded very, very quickly to this incident. But 60 rounds went off before the first officer even got there. That is a lot of bullets. A lot of bullets. So again, right? Well, 17, so 3. But again, if somebody walked in right now, I'm sitting right in this corner, somebody's gonna get shot guaranteed before I can engage them. Guaranteed. So that's why you have to run and fight. And if you're right next to the gunman, you're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to do something. Because if June turns around and starts running, she's gonna get a bullet in her back. All right, when police arrive, be prepared to evacuate, leave everything that's there. Don't grab your purses, don't grab your cell phones. We do not want anything in your hands, especially a black object that I have to decipher. You will be, right, stressed out to the max. What happens when you get stressed? What happens when you get in a panic, right? The pulling of the blood happens. Your body automatically protects itself, right? You'll have tachycardia, which is a distortion of time. You'll have auditory exclusion because the blood is coming from your ears and pulling around your heart and your brain because it protects itself. Your phalanges, your fingers won't work, right? Your fine dexterity leaves you. That's why you see people just fainting and stuff. All the blood is rushing to preserve yourself. Your body does a great job of keeping itself alive. The same thing happens to us, right? We train and train and train, and we have all sorts of stimulus, right? So I'm on the SWAT team, and so I'm more trained the most. And so instead of my vision being like this, it might be like that, but that's all. Because I cannot do every effect, right? Naturally, I can try, but naturally, I will have auditory exclusion. I will have the tunnel vision. So that's why I don't want you running up to me going, hey, 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 hey. It's like, whoa, because I'm gonna dump you on the ground. So don't do that. Avoid quick movements, don't approach the officers. If there is somebody shooting, just say, hey, and what that person's wearing. I always say he, because 99.2% are males. Very rarely the females are the shooters. And that's usually gang related when it is the shooters. Give us a description and then point us in the right direction. But don't run up to us, please. We might push you down, don't be offended that I pushed June down. She paid me to do that. She wanted me to demonstrate and clap ones. Ethic and moral issues. Do I leave the patient? Okay, we already discussed this a little bit. This is where I got so much pushback from doctors. Most attacks are directed at hospital staff. Medical staff are injured or dead. Who can they help? again, in this place, since it's a ripe environment for people that are standing, which gains the eyes, movement gains the eyes, they're going to start shooting. Again, if Paul is shot, somebody's going to have to help Paul instead of Paul helping somebody else. It sounds greedy, it sounds selfish, but you need to save yourself first so you can save somebody later. Alright? Again, you are a burden if you get shot. So rule number one, don't get shot. It's my rule too, by the way. Survival should be your number one priority, escape, and then come back. You know, run, hide, fight, escape, hide, defend yourself. Once smoke clears, you go back, and then that's when you practice medicine and save people's lives. Post-incident, remember your staff. This is going to be a traumatic incident. We lost Deputy Ryan Thompson in 2019. We still are feeling the effects of that. You can ask Dee Utley and her ER staff. They still feel the effects of that. I was at the hospital that day, and it was amazing what they did. They still need to talk to people. Your staff will need to talk to people for a long time. So make sure that you watch out for your staff. You get them the resources. We have what's called critical stress debriefs. We'll bring everybody in, and then we talk about it, and then we offer resources there. So make sure, if your staff is involved in any incident, make sure, because mental health, we need to really concentrate on mental health. About last 5 years on, as we're doing, mental health is important. It's always been important, we just never made it a priority, and we lose good people because of that. Doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that you need to talk to somebody. That's all it is. And sometimes you just talk to the person once and you feel better about it. Deputies, right? I was like, oh my gosh, why did it have to be Ryan? Why couldn't it have been somebody else? That sounds awful, right? Well, my partner, he told me that. I said, well, that's the same thing that Ben told me. It's like, somebody else felt that way? I said, yes, everybody loved Ryan. So it happens, and it was just the talking. And it's like, oh God, I felt so much stress. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a horrible person. We didn't name a deputy or anything, but it's like, why Ryan? Same thing here. You know, why Paul? Everybody loved Paul. Why couldn't it have been June, you know? It's told you not to sit there, but yeah. So that's normal. Make sure that you talk to your staff. Make sure your staff knows how they can get help. HIPAA. When I am interviewing you, it is not a HIPAA violation, so don't shield yourself from HIPAA. You are a witness to a crime. All right? If one of your residents, I don't need to know the diagnosis of your residents. That's HIPAA. But don't come to me, I'm a nurse. I can't talk to you. Yes, you can. You're a witness to a crime. All right? I can't stress that enough. I get HIPAA thrown in my face so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't even know that law. It has nothing to do with it. I'm not talking about diagnosis of your patients or your medical conditions. I don't need to know your medical conditions. I just need to know what you saw. So, and again, mental health for you. And here, your patients. Your patients are going to need mental health. Your patients have seen everything, heard everything, was scared because a lot of them that are not mobile just felt like sitting ducks, right? And saw you guys leave and abandon them, and then you come back, right? Because, well, why did you abandon me? Well, he told me that I needed to jump out the window, right? So, blame me. MCI. So the hospitals, this is when I do this at the hospitals, hey, what would happen when you get the red ones in? And every hospital's like, oh my gosh, right? First time I did this as an afraid, it's like, oh, we can't handle 24. It's like, those are the injured people. The one at the end, those are the deaths. How about the Boston Marathon bombing, 264 patients? Those are the people that needed treatment. So they did a phenomenal job with that. So an MCI drill, again, they have the cards. They will say, I have X amount of people that they need, and they automatically will start paging out. If an MCI is declared, and any firefighter or EMS can declare it, they automatically page out every apparatus in Kittitas County, automatically, because they'd rather have them coming and then turn them away than not coming. And if it reaches another number, they'll call in Chelan, Yakima, and Grant County ambulances. So that's not going to be your job. Your job is going to be to try to save as many lives as possible with the medicine that you know. you do not know medicine, you're gonna be doing this a lot. We are going to reach out to, in schools, we use the secretaries. We've met with all the secretaries, says, I'm gonna ask you to do something horrible. You can say no, I need you to identify the people that are being shipped out. Because I need to know names, especially at schools, they don't have IDs. Your people that are being shipped out, I won't know their names, but I need somebody to identify them. Because when their loved ones come for unifications, I need to know where Gladys went to. I need to know what hospital they went to. Because the family's coming here, and we will say, Gladys, you're Gladys's son, Gladys went to Harborview, right? We need to know that. And the transport officer will need to know. A lot of times they'll write a number on their forehead, and then they'll ship them, and then we'll try to find out, hey, who was number one? And they just say Gladys, and then we radio ahead, and we give them the name of when they're going down. Same thing at schools, especially the lower kids, they don't carry IDs or ASBs or anything, so we don't know. We'll take pictures of them with our cell phones, and then we go to the secretaries and they'll say who they are. Because, who's a parent in here? So you would wanna know where their child is, correct? When you hear something bad and you come to the school. And then I'm not going to know, and what's your son or daughter name?
Dylan.
Gillen?
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna know where Gillen is, and I'm gonna say, Wenatchee, Yakima Memorial, Harborview, good luck. And then she's gonna go to Yakima, and Gillen's not there, then she's gonna stop back here, punch me in the nose, and then head on to Harborview. But that's reality, because what would you do for your son?
Anything.
Anything, right? Same thing with those parents, same thing with they're gonna be mad, they're gonna be mad at you, right? Now, you have nothing to do with it, but they're still gonna be mad, they're gonna be angry, they're gonna be sad. Same thing with your loved ones. You know, if something happened to Judy, we have to deal with Judy's loved ones. So that's the reunification, that's we need to ID, those people when we do mass casualties, so you don't have code silver, I think that's a walk-off, right, usually? Somebody, dementia patient will walk off, and that's silver, we do a silver alert. You guys don't have silver here, I know that for a fact.
Is that, Dean, was that Brown? If we have a resident that was eloped?
Brown is external disaster,
Oh, Brown's extra.
white is for missing person.
Yeah,
Oh,
so white,
okay.
don't look at this, this was made for Ephrata, and they changed it, they don't have silver anymore anyway, but, so code white, right? So know your protocols, know your evacuation points, not just saying for active shooter stuff, but for fire. We did a fire tabletop exercise here a couple years ago, where we were in the one break room, I started in the kitchen. Hearthstone did one over there too. You know, you guys transport your people to Hearthstone. I always make it in February, so you can't just put them outside, right? And then actually made them call and, hey, how many can you take? And to your sister places where you have contracts with. And then does your employees know your plans? So supervisors, that's your job, make sure your employees know the plans for your facilities. So fire, because it's gonna be chaotic. Any of these emergencies, true emergencies, are gonna be chaotic. So the more we know, right? Plans are nothing, but planning is everything. Eisenhower said that about the D-Day landing. So you need to make sure that everybody understands the plan. Will plan survive first contact? No, it's never gonna be just like the plan, but at least you have a narrow field to deal with, instead of going, I don't know what to do, right? So that's what plans are due, to get it around here instead of out here. All right. So every time I do this, especially at schools, we're in the most unsafe school ever known to man, and they go up to the principal and say, we need this and we need that, and the superintendent needs to buy this. Ed wants this place to be secure, but it costs dollars, and it's not this is not a jail. Like I always say that to teachers, this is a school, not a jail. We can make it a jail and make it very, very safe and guarantee you nothing's going to happen, but that's not a very good environment, right? Everybody has to go through a magnetometer, and all the doors are locked at all times, and there's somebody in the hallway. That's a bad environment. You don't want that here either. You want a nice environment for your people. So, just because I gave you this class doesn't mean that there's going to be a gunman in here shooting it up. I always say this to the teachers: you are more likely to die, I know it's morbid, in a traffic accident coming to and from work than you are dying at work. Okay, so don't leave here going, Darren just told me we're all going to die. So that's not it. What Darren is telling you is not be prepared. And all this stuff we said today can work anywhere, anywhere. Malls, school board meetings, anywhere there's a group of people, it's a prime target. All my presentations end with this: victorious warriors win first, then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. So prepare now. It's a morbid subject. Nobody wants to talk about it. Sadly, I'm here talking about it, and I apologize for doing that, but this is an important subject, and it could save your life. So again, it may not happen here. It could happen at Super One or wherever you shop, or the next time you go to a mall. Been up a lot of mall attacks lately. I don't know why, but that's it's the store over in, so my fiance's oldest is going to University of Boulder. The store, 2 blocks from her got shot up. She was not involved, but where they go shopping, right? Gunman came in with an AR and shot a bunch of employees, shot the first cop that came in. That just happened a couple months ago, so it can be used anywhere, this technique. So questions, comments, concerns? So what I can
So
get,
So if you have a concealed carry permit and you've got your weapon in your car, and
Yes.
it's not on you,
correct.
you should not try and use that.
You can use that. I always say a good guy with a gun is good. I am a pro, Second Amendment, and if you're on my team, then you can carry a gun. Ed asked me that. This was a couple years ago. It's like, hey, what about staff being armed? I said, I'm for it. I'm for teachers being armed. What? What do you mean? I said, right now, so I'm armed, right? Everybody see this gun on my hip? What's stopping me from pulling this gun out and shooting you in the face right now, dude? Nothing. The only thing stopping me is I'm not insane, right? And that's true. This is a tool. This is how I see it. This is a tool on my hip. It's no different than a shovel, an axe, a pen. I can hurt you very, very bad with a pen if I wanted to. Hammers kill more people than rifles, right? Knives is still our #1 murder weapon in the United States. You hear a lot about guns because it's an easy target right now. But more people get killed in automobile accidents than they do with gun violence every year. But we still drive, right? So, and I'm not saying that guns should just be, willy-nilly. This is a tool, just like any other tool. You won't leave a hatchet around next to a kid or a sharp knife next to a kid. Same thing with a gun, and we need to be responsible gun owners. So that's my spiel on that. So, but if it is in your car, please keep it locked. Because we have cars all over the place, but I'm all for it. And I always say this: how many people do I contact today that have guns?
Quite a few.
I'll never know, because good gun people, I'll never know. Or real good gun people say, hey, just to let you know, deputy, I have a pistol. A lot of people who pull over will say that. I said, no, great, thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling me, don't reach for it, we'll both be fine. Right, that's what I do, because good gun owners will do that. Bad guys will not tell you, right? And if this is a gun-free zone, you think a bad guy will not bring a gun in here. Right?
He doesn't care.
Right. All laws do and locks keep good people from committing crime. That's it. So, schools are gun-free zones, but yet I just gave you a list of shootings over there.
You should run. You should run.
So IDT, that's a question that I had. This is not my test. This is Ed's test. IDT is initials that mean what? An acronym for?
Interdepartment team, interdisciplinary team.
Isn't it interdepartment team or something?
Interdisciplinary team.
It's not a disciplinary team, is it?
Well, they should talk to us, so I would think false. I would be surprised if they kept it a secret.
About the DV trip, I think it is false is the answer on that. IDT does not let their staff know about DV threat. They only let the people know that need to know, right? It's none of everybody's business what happened at their
Oh,
house.
so that'd be true.
But it is, the person that needs to know is like supervisors and the people that need to know. It's not everybody. It's not gonna be on the announcement that